Go for it.
Aloha Snack Bar! It's the one, the only, the gorilla in the Econo Mist, coming to you live with my man, CJ, the Dennison of the airways, the uncanny producer extraordinaire, and one half of the dynamic duo that makes this radio broadcast come out flawless. We're coming to you live, guys, and if you haven't checked us out on roguemoney.net, please go to that site, check us out, smash the subscribe button right here, right now, hit the thumbs up, follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money. Also check out the Rogue Money Facebook page, and we're going to be moving into other mediums very soon as the site gets updated to Rogue Money 4.0. It's coming. Oh, the power, CJ, the power is growing stronger.
The Force.
Yes.
The Force is with us.
Yes. The MAGA is too great, CJ. I cannot take all this winning. The MAGA is too great. We own all your safe spaces, libtards, snowflakes, and social justice warriors. We own your safe spaces. Be aware. Be very aware and be frightened. We're coming.
You can run, but you can't hide.
You can run, but you cannot hide. Indeed, my friend. Want to thank all you guys for listening in on this broadcast. And also, if you have any debt issues, credit problems, you need a new score, check out my boys over at myfreedomnow.us. That's myfreedomnow.us. Now, with that out of the way, we're live. This is a new time slot for us. We've been running this whole 8 p.m. stuff for the longest time. And now we're on drive time, so you guys can listen to us as you're driving home. And that's going to be pretty awesome. And wait till we get the Rogue Money app out there where you'll be able to listen to us live right through the app. It's coming. I promise you, we're all working on it. We're, putting a lot of our backs into it. A lot of great articles, man, on Rogue Money. We'll get to that in a little bit. And but before we even get into that, CJ, what's going on, man? How's your afternoon, bro?
Afternoon's going great, man. It feels good to be here on a Friday afternoon versus 8 o'clock at night. And after you've usually have dinner before, so I'm like on a full stomach. I'm like, oh dear Lord, here we go. not that I don't enjoy it. It's just a matter you're sitting on a full stomach, ready to chill out and everything. But yeah, so it feels good to be here on the drive time home for our listeners.
Yeah, man, same, absolutely, bro. I mean, it feels great. I love it, and I thank God for it. We've been doing the 8 p.m. thing for the longest time, bro.
Yeah, dated back to Revolution Radio those days, right?
Yeah, Revolution Radio, back in the Rev Radio days, going back 2 years, man. Over 2 years.
Wow. You're not going to know what to do, V, at 8 o'clock at night. You'll be like jumping on or something and like freaking out that, that nothing's happening.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna be like, what do I do now? I don't know, maybe I might just go out and grab a cold one or something. Who knows, bro? Maybe tool around in my car or run around in circles, or I'll put a plastic bag in over my head and go run in traffic. I'm not sure what I'd do.
I think my family will be happy because I'm always yelling at that 8 o'clock slot. I'm like, do not all of you be streaming at the same time. I need the bandwidth. Right? Exactly. More bandwidth.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. I don't know. Maybe my, who knows, man? Maybe I'll hang out with family or something like that. I mean, they'll probably have some family time now that I'm free. That'll be some good stuff, bro. Either way, I'm glad, and I think it'll probably be easier to book guests too, because most guests, most people have things to do Friday night. They like to go out, they like to spend time with family. Not everybody could be relaxing and maxing and listen to the ape and the uncanny one on the radio. But they're here and we're here. So let's get this thing kicking, bro. I mean, there's a lot of news to cover. Like, what the hell's on your radar, man? Like, what is blipping on the radar?
Did you listen to the press conference regarding Prime Minister Theresa May today? Did you check that out?
Bro, break it down. No, I didn't get a chance to. I was so busy with everything else. I was meaning to get to that. What is going on for some more MAGA, man?
I was interested in this for just so many reasons, kind of like we discussed this morning, right? And I was more interested to see how Trump would handle himself in part because, kind of away from that teleprompter, that free-flowing Trump that we're kind of accustomed to. So I was very interested to see how this was going to flow. And he did an awesome job. He had his note cards there, which granted, you can always tell when he's script, right? You can definitely tell a difference when this man is script and when he's just free-flowing it. But I thought he did a very good job of controlling the the not I don't want to say controlling the audience, but just in terms of the questions coming at him, they started out just discussing just what in part did they discuss, and in terms of the actual agreements of things that they agreed upon. They talked a lot about the about Russia, about NATO, and both Trump and May had some very great things to say regarding the discussions, and just openly saying, that we may not agree all the time. The media that was there kind of tried to, place that wedge in. Well, what did you guys disagree upon? And they both handled it very well. And said, listen, we agree on a lot of things, but essentially, there may be some things that we don't. When you think of, Trump was one of the first ones that came out and really was a proponent of just saying, hey, listen, this Brexit thing, it could very well be real, and lo and behold, it happened. So he's very supportive of the British and the Brexit and what's happened here recently in terms of supporting their trade. So she's already invited Trump and his wife to come, to return the favor and bounce back over for a visit there. But I was just overall just very impressed with his demeanor, how he handled himself. Just in terms of, they asked him some point blank questions regarding the waterboarding, and it's just amazing to see the transparency, and to see someone just openly admit, to say, listen, I may not agree with what my generals say, but they're the experts. I'm going to listen to them.
Right.
So if they say that I'm not going to do this, then I'm not.
Right.
They try to catch him a little bit, flat-footed regarding Mexico, and he's like, listen, this really doesn't involve Prime Minister Theresa May. I can tell you, she probably really doesn't care about the U.S. Mexico relationship, and she just kind of affirmed that. She's like, well, listen, I've got my own problems. But yeah, I was just amazing. I think it was a great first start, a great press conference, just very open, very transparent. They asked him about, well, Prime Minister May, are you okay? Because a lot of times Trump changes his position on certain things, and you know how the media does, right? They always try to control the narrative. And he was like, well, if you think about that, I really don't change my mind on a whole lot of things, but I'm going to do what's right for the American people. Yeah. And when they asked him point blank regarding the discussion tomorrow night with Vladimir Putin, he was the same way, regarding the sanctions. Listen, I'm going to do what's right for the American people. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to be there, tooting my own horn and promoting myself. And I think that was Obama's biggest downfall, is that he didn't care what the American people thought. He pretty much did what he thought was the right thing to do. So very refreshing. Very refreshing. What about your thoughts?
No, man. I mean, I just looked at the main bullet points of this whole entire meeting, and a couple of things really stood out to me. Okay, look, why is the bloody trade relationships with the UK important? Grab your notebooks, boys and girls. The gorilla is going to break it down. Remember 2 years ago when I quoted, and some of you might remember this, I've repeated it so many times. It was at that time South Korean President Park Geun-hye, Geun-hye Park, whatever her name is, the girl who got the president who's no longer president of South Korea. She got impeached and whatnot. But anyway, Park Geun-hye Lee understands that for Korea to be very competitive and to be a technological powerhouse and the rival, Korea is the new Japan. You know how Japan was like the it place in the 90s, like so much technology was coming out, this, that, and the other. I mean, you're buying Sony televisions, Sony PlayStations, Nintendos, this, that, and the other. Now it's Korea. Korea is Japan, where Japan was in the 90s. That's where Korea is right now. South Korea is going to boom. And Park Geun-hye Lee, the President Park, was said this. She was in Uzbekistan, in the capital over there in Uzbek, and she said that the new Silk Road will run from Busan, which is the second largest city in South Korea, right outside of Seoul, which is the biggest port there, all the way to London. Oh, wait, what? I'm going to say this again. The Silk Road will run from Busan all the way to London. Now, why is that important, right? Why is that important? Well, while all this Brexit hoopla and theater was going on with the European Union and this, that, and the other, while all that was continuing, the new Silk Road was being built out. It was being built out in such a way that just a few days ago, CJ, just I think you and I reported on this on the morning show. The first freight train from China arrived in England.
Boom.
Why is the UK US relationship important in trade? Because that is going to be one of the access points in which we, the United States, enters into the new Silk Road and becomes absolutely invested in it. I want you to think about this way. We're going to be entwined with the UK, with the Silk Road, with the trade over there. And then on the east, our partners will be Taiwan, will be Japan, will be China, will be Vietnam, will be Singapore, Malaysia, and South Korea. Because all these trade deals will be renegotiated. So both on the east and on the west, we will be plugged into the node, a vital node, on the largest economic project in human history. And we get to partake in that, CJ. How awesome is that, bro?
That's just amazing. It long overdue, and it's great to see that pivot where the United States is coming to some realization that we better get on board with the new Silk Road, because if not, we're going to be left far behind.
Absolutely, and that's the game that's being played here. Theresa May, there's no trade in Europe. What trade in what Europe? There's Germany. That's about it. What are you going to trade with France for? Truffles? What are you going to trade with Belgium? I mean, Belgium's got great beer and some good chocolate, but apart from that, what do Belgium has to offer besides great, awesome beer, fantastic chocolate, and one of the best racetracks on God's green earth? Apart from that, they have nothing going for them. Like, who's left? You know, so it's the way forward. And who else is watching this meeting between Theresa May of the UK and Donald Trump in the US? Who else is watching that meeting? Because after all, this is a country that was supposed to crash and burn after they left the EU, right? They were supposed to be bedlam and mayhem. They were supposed to have the pound crash to nothing. They were supposed to have their markets dive to nowhere. The FTSE was supposed to like crash 1,000, 2,000 points. It would create economic havoc, this, that, and the other. And what happened? Who had the best performing economy in the entire EU, in the entire European continent? Who had the best damn performing economy? The Brits. Just like the Icelandic people. Why? Because as soon as you get away from the cancer that's called the EU, all of a sudden, hey, you start flourishing. So who else is watching that? Italy is watching it. Greece, who's kicking themselves, is watching it. Because what happened? Recently it says that Greek bonds and Greek debt are again coming to the forefront. Oh, the EU is fracturing big time. Big time. That's why Theresa May says a free and independent Britain is a blessing to the world. May said that both governments would work for ordinary people and hope to achieve progress for workers. You know, that's the whole entire thing here. That's why this integration is very important. Look, who the hell cares if Mexico doesn't want to build? Look, one way or another, the wall's going up. If Mexico says, okay, we're gonna leave NAFTA because, you know, they have some pride issues. They're like, you know what? There's no way we can't, you know, sign the deal on the wall. It makes us look bad. What? Would somebody tell me at which point in history did Mexico become a world power? You don't want to look bad? I mean, think about this, CJ. You can't go there and drink the tap water, but you're worried about looking bad. You have narco trafficking running rampant in the country with hundreds of thousands dead, but you don't want to look bad. You got 20,000 discovered headless in a mass grave near the Texas-Arizona border. I'm sorry, near the Arizona-Mexico border, but you don't want to look bad. You're a failed state run by narco traffickers, but you don't want to look bad. What are you talking about? The only people that stand to lose on a NAFTA, walking away from NAFTA completely, is Mexico. And you got Carlos Slim coming out. Who the hell cares what that fat turd has to say? The monopoly man, Carlos Slim from Mexico. They're finding out very quickly, CJ, that Donald Trump is not playing around. The United States is open for business. We are under new management, as one of the listeners said this morning. We're under new management. We'll welcome everybody to do business, but you're not no longer going to take advantage of us. Okay, so all the Mexican politicians, this Donald Trump, I thought he was kidding. I thought he was not serious. Oh, he's very serious, and no, he's not kidding. That's the deal, man. That's what's going on here. So we're not worried about that. And I see that Bankster's joined us. Bankster was here.
Gonna be coming back in. She had to reboot just real quick, V, but she'll be right back. But man, you you dropped some serious truth bombs right there. In particular,
got that. Nobody else sees that integration except for us, CJ. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say just in regards to the whole EU, and I guarantee you that Angela Merkel's shaking in her boots right now. Looking at these discussions and what's going to happen. Because she's going to roll next. But in regards to Mexico, V, you nailed it when you started talking about the whole drug cartels and how much momentum and how fast that they have grown. And Trump was the first to kind of release the information that said that there were some discoveries regarding Enrique Nieto that in fact that his early campaign days was actually funded by the drug cartels.
Yeah.
And not only on top of that, but when you think of the liberals here in the U.S. when they talk about the income disparity and inequalities and everything, well, look at Mexico.
Oh God!
Look at Mexico. It's even worse there. In Mexico, 1% owns over half of the country's wealth. In Mexico, there is so much poverty there. Why the hell do you think that people are trying to come to the United States? So if you want to fix immigration, if you want to fix Mexico, then fix the drug problem, fix the corrupt government.
Yep.
It's not going to matter how many, Mexicans you bring over Mexico. Let's help their country to understand, because right now that's why they're coming over. They want what we have here in America. They want that opportunity to do well for the family. So if it was you or Ivy and we're in Mexico and we're making, 50 cents on the hour, wouldn't we want to come to the United States even if it's for a minimum wage job, right? So so don't talk to me about this whole wall thing with, it's not the right thing to do. It's not a Christian thing to do. That's the new thing that they're saying. Well, how can you be a Christian? And no, time out. It has nothing to do with it. If you let's talk about the amount of guns that we ran into Mexico. Let's talk about the amount of crime that we help with the cartels. So don't talk to me about this whole Christian thing. Welcome, Bankster. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi.
Bankster Slayer.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the first 15 minutes. So we're all stocking up on tequila now?
I am stocking up on avocado. I can't drink tequila. I'm on this whole ketogenic diet because I'm trying to lean up here, and so I'm stocking up on avocados just in case.
Which everyone should anyway, but I mean, so are we going to see a black market? This is what I'm waiting for, the great tequila the great tequila crisis of 2017.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I think that is a brilliant deduction on your part, Bankster. I am going to go out and buy bottles of tequila and then sell it on eBay. I can't sell it. I'll sell it to somebody for an inordinate, obscene amount of money.
All right. Anyway,
CJ, what's a good tequila, bro?
Yeah.
The majority of tequilas that you see, everyone's familiar with the Cuervos and all that. But most of the really good tequilas that come from Mexico, I mean, they're like $100, a bottle that come out there. I think a good one that's kind of a moderate price that I like that's real smooth that you can drink over ice is like Patron. Patron Silver. I mean, I like more of the clear, the white tequilas more than the gold. So that's just my opinion, my preference. But trust me, after a few, tequila will talk to you at the end of the night. It will talk to
you. What did it say? What did it say?
Oh, one of the listeners just posted 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume that any tequila that comes in a huge giant sized plastic container is probably not the best quality.
Do they have box?
Now they backed down a little bit on that tax, right? I mean, I know that the press secretary initially came out and said, "Well, yeah, we're going to have a 20% tariff on on the imports, but I think that they realize that, hey, listen, that's going to directly. So I think they may have backtracked on that a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see. You think with the amount of reduction in crime, the reduction on the dependency of people that come across, whether they fall on food stamps, whether they whether they take jobs, which I'm not going to go out and claim that. I think that they fill a very valuable need in terms of some of the farms, right? The farm help. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it as far as the funding of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? That's how the negotiation process begins. It begins by making an absolutely obscene claim and then negotiating down from there. So we will get this deal done one way or another, Mexico. Either you're in it with us, or you are holy frijoles. You're going to be going down. It's not going to be good because you don't like Donald Trump. That's going to be a problem, you know.
Well,
Right.
and then plus they want the votes. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys saw the report today that it was kind of discovered that Hillary probably received like close to 800,000 votes,
Man, yes,
illegal
yes.
votes from
And there's
non-citizens.
more.
So this was, yep, good.
And it gets worse. I'm hearing 25 million is the total number. Did you hear that, Bankster?
No, I had not heard any of that yet. No, but it doesn't surprise me, obviously.
CJ, break that down for us, bro. What's this 800,000 to study?
Yeah, so this came out from a political scientist, Jesse Richmond of Old Dominion University in Virginia, and he had worked with his colleagues to produce this research on non-citizen voting. And this week he posted a blog in response to Mr. Trump's assertion because Donald came out and said, listen, we're probably going to have an investigation, which he's kind of backed down away from that. They're like, hey, listen, we got other things to focus on. But this report said that Hillary Clinton garnered more than 800,000 votes from non-citizens on November 8th, an approximation far short of President Trump's estimate up to 5 million illegal votes. And how they gathered this data was basically off of the polling. They actually looked at the votes, the previous history of votes, and where the votes were trending and where the outcome should be. And they determined that by the amount of votes and the direction that it went, that there were probably close to an estimate of 800,000 votes. And again, this is just an estimate. That's not ballpark. It's just a ballpark figure, but that just kind of shows you the amount of corruption. That doesn't include the dead people that voted for Hillary.
Yeah, speaking of the dead people and the Walking Dead, that's how zombie sounds. That's. I mean, you got to be a zombie to vote Democrat at this point. You got to be a zombie to vote for Hillary. And there's seriously something wrong with these libtards who are wearing hijabs and screaming aloha snack bar. I mean, what is wrong with the left? They've literally lost it. When David Horowitz wrote his book, it was describing the relationship between the radical Islamists and the extreme left. I thought, this is a crazy idea. That'll never happen. And here it is, 2017. Damn it, it is happening. Like, what the hell's the difference? And CJ, you talking about dead people. Check this out. Recent report by the Pew Center on the states. Bankster, brace yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Finds that 1.8 million dead people are currently registered to vote. And 24 million registrants are either invalid or inaccurate. NPR reported in 2012, which is ironic, considering, guys, that NPR is a Democratic organization. Many of the dead registered voters. Okay, and here's the most miraculous thing. This is why Trump's saying we need a look fraud. Now people are saying, the idiot. That's why this is also another reason, guys, where they put out, oh, he was Russian hack on the vote. It is a smokescreen to do two things. Number one, to delegitimize the presidency and the election of Donald Trump. Okay, and number two, it provided the smokescreen to prevent and distract people from ever looking in the real voter fraud, which the Democrats were sitting on for the longest time. It was a smokescreen and a diversion because they didn't want Trump. They didn't want the administration. They wanted them to be so enthralled because they knew Trump was hunting this. He's been sitting on this for months after this. Here's the problem. Every single one of these dead registered voters Miraculously, somehow every year around election time, they rise from the dead. They, stumble and limp their way to the closest precinct or voting place, and they always vote Democratic for some reason. And we've seen this in Philadelphia. We see this all over the state of Pennsylvania, in Colorado, in Michigan, where 37% of those who voted from Hillary were dead people. Something smells in D.C. And it definitely is Hillary Clinton, but there's more to it. What do you think, Deb?
Right. Well, sure, and undoubtedly George Soros is involved with this somewhere.
Yes.
I wanted to, because you guys were mentioning on one of the morning shows, and also Joseph Farrell posted his weekly blog yesterday about this thing that has gotten started in the country of Macedonia, Stop Operation Soros. And
Yes.
That's gaining traction. And Farrell ended his video by supposing that this is going to really start spreading to the other countries in Europe.
Yep.
They've had it with him.
Absolutely. And CJ, we were saying this for the longest time during the whole entire campaign. We were saying that, Trump should go after them, somebody should go after him. And I think with the good guys winning, with the nationalists and the populists that are, winning globally, especially in these Western democracies, CJ, seeing that pushback against Soros, huh?
Oh, huge. Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And I think you're going to see the same thing here in the United States. I mean, the guy's evil. The guy has done so much to undermine, elections, not just here, but, Ukraine, just so much corruption that's there. So yeah, it'll be good to kick his butt out of the United States and send him back to his home country where they can prosecute him and throw him in jail.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. And that's, of course, now that's going to make him dangerous for a while. I mean, he's going to be reacting like a caged animal now. He's being cornered.
Yep.
And I was laughing. At some point in the show, I was going to bring up tomorrow's telephone call. You guys talked about it this morning. Is this not the most anticipated telephone call in the history of telephone calls tomorrow?
I am waiting with bated breath.
I know, exactly. And you hit it on the nail. You hit the nail on the head when you said this will be Vlad and Donald discussing what the next move against the cabal is.
Yeah, absolutely. And they I think Soros just soiled himself again when that announcement was made. I think somebody had to change his depends. I don't know if he was in one of his bathhouses with I have no idea, but the guy soiled himself. He probably soiled himself while he was in his bathhouse. That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
But the fact is this. Now, if you notice, guys, the greatest clue about this whole Soros thing is this. If you remember, as soon as Trump got elected, what did Viktor Orban do? The president of Hungary. Yeah. He said, we're going after all Soros NGOs. Why? And he said this, now because of the election of Donald Trump, we're going after Soros. That's the red light. See, Soros was able to run and hide because, Russia has an arrest warrant out, so he stays out of Russia. And the Russians can't freeze his funds because, Soros is running on, he's been running on, the whole entire SWIFT network. I mean, no one has control over SWIFT except for the U.S. Now, Soros, you can blame him for every single dead cop, that every single rioting, every defaced property, destroyed infrastructure, people who's been hurt, maimed, or even killed during these riots and upheavals for the last 2 years. You could lay that at the foot of George Soros. And I've emailed the Trump team, about 4 or 5 months ago. And I said this to them. I said, and I kid you not, I said this. You guys need to go after Soros. You need to go after him. I mean, forget the fact that this guy reminds me of every single James Bond villain put together. He is like the personification of Dr. Evil. And I said, go after him with the JASTA law. Go after him with the Patriot Act. I'm telling you, they're going to find his assets because the assets of the a-hole that is Soros is still mostly liquid. It's still in markets. It's still in equities and different types of positions. They freeze that out. They could, and Soros is somehow immune. Now that General Michael Flynn is the head of he's the head director of national security for the entire United States. He is the national security, director. He's in charge of both the NSA, the CIA. They all answer to him. What do you think Michael Flynn's going to be doing with this Borg that's been sucking information and recording telephone calls and scouring emails for the last several 15 to 20 years called the NSA? You don't think that they can't find where Soros is? That they don't know where Georgi Soros is hiding his billions? I predict, and I've been saying it from the beginning, JASTA law to go after Soros, which will allow the families of those who have suffered under his radical fifth column political activities and hate groups that he has funded and helped to flourish. This will allow those families to sue the bastard directly, and the Patriot Act to freeze his assets, and then Navy SEAL Team 6 and perhaps Russian Spetsnaz GRU can go in and take care of him personally. That's what I want to see. Forget the dead Osama bin Laden pictures that was faked. I want to see the dead George Soros picture. I want to see SEAL Team 6 do a raid on Soros as he's hiding out in some backwater somewhere in Pakistan. And they're going in there, knowing Soros will probably throw one of his his pansy beta male sons as a human shield. Team 6 or Spetsnaz to take the guy out. That will be a great day in my book. I will celebrate again. Guys.
Yeah, and in addition to that, think of, Media Matters, his entire progressive, organization in terms of the media and what they're doing, where they're trying to actively go after like Breitbart News. They need to be kicked out as well. Everything from change.org, all those organizations that Soros has been funding, year after year, and the fake news that just continuously, comes out. I'm not sure if you guys saw the report that the mainstream media came out. They tried to say, "Oh yes, look, everyone in the State Department resigns." Did you guys see that report?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, yes, they're going to, because they're all appointed by, Obama. They're not going to stay. It's a natural transition that happens. They make it sound like that they all quit just because Trump became president. Well, if the new boss isn't going to be keeping you around, you better be looking for a new job anyway.
Absolutely. And Deb, I mean, was this not the most useless State Department, the most destructive State Department, and probably the most corrupt State Department, I'd say, in like 50 years?
Yeah, and I ran across some other news story this morning that was talking about how there was already hundreds of vacancies in the Obama administration. They described it as a Swiss cheese administration because there were so many holes that had never been filled in the first place.
Yeah, there you go. I guess that works out well when you want to hide the corruption and hide all the lies,
Right.
Yeah, and then ABC had to backtrack a little bit on the initial, when Spicer came out in that initial press conference and talked about the crowd size of the inauguration, right? So they had to backtrack. Yeah. They took what he said completely out of context, and they changed it around. Like, that's not what we said. And so they secretly like edited that report and put out that, we may have taken a little bit of what he said and, fit it to our narrative, what we wanted. So you want to talk about fake news? They are the fake news.
And they're being caught and exposed in every turn. Look, you must be retarded or living under a rock, or you're just not paying attention, or maybe you're a libtard. Maybe you've divorced yourself of your brain, okay? Here's the deal, guys. This is a fact. You can Google it. The Pentagon has come out on reports years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that said, yeah, we spent about $254 million with mainstream media news outlets to create fake news, to create news that is not real. any, this is a long-standing relationship. We in the new media guys, we've been calling them, the Mockingbird media for a reason, because of the Mockingbird program that the CIA used to run, where you have fake media groups, this, that, and the other. I love it. And while all this exposure is going on, CNN is out there saying, "Oh, well, our credibility is the highest it's ever been." With who? Geriatric patients in Florida that are dying? Like, who's your credibility high with? That's what I want to know, Jeff Zucker.
The media need to understand this, that, Trump has, Bannon, right? Bannon on his cabinet. You want to talk about an attack dog that is going to keep the media honest. I mean, that guy has so many different resources that are available. So whatever they put out, if it's not accurate, they better just be prepared. They better duck.
Absolutely, because the full-on war. I love how the media is crying. Trump, he just went into Air Force One. He climbed up the stairs and he didn't turn back and wave bye to us. Why didn't he turn back? He's not acknowledging us. I mean, they're so butthurt. They're like infantile little children at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They're just waiting for a wet nurse, and there's no wet nurse, because their wet nurse, which was Hillary Clinton, that they were hoping for, is gone. Now, the only way you're going to find Hillary, you got to go into the backwoods of Chappaqua, and you might get a picture taken with her. It's like Sasquatch. She's probably wearing some funky colored coat and maybe even an American flag hijab. But I don't even think she'd wear that. Maybe a communist flag hijab. And you'll find her in the woods walking around. And if you have night vision goggles, you'll probably see Bill in the woods as well. But he'll be with somebody else doing God knows what. But anyway, that's where the media is.
Hey, what do you think about whether or not Hillary is going to try to run for mayor of New York?
Oh, my God, I hope not, man. I'm terrified. I mean, here's the thing. This is the funniest thing, okay? De Blasio is doing a wonderful job wrecking the city. De Blasio is doing a wonderful job putting race relations back several years, because he is the white Barack Obama. So he's doing his job to create a racial problem. He's doing his a wonderful job alienating the cops and creating more tension with them, with the NYPD. So for Hillary to come in, I don't know. I think it could happen. It could, New Yorkers are so socially liberal. Mm-hmm. And there's been a change. It's not the same Manhattan anymore. It's not the same Midtown anymore. I mean, most of the people that are living in Manhattan now, there's still a bunch of yuppies that live there. I think the gradation or the level of yuppiness has gone through the roof. So it's very possible that Hillary will probably get elected for mayor. But, nature abhors a vacuum. And if we create enough MAGA, the only person that could take over the vacuum that will be created by the far retreating left would be for somebody who is a conservative politician. Maybe if Preet Bharara ran for mayor, that's a badass. That dude is Rudy Giuliani 2.0. He's the one that's still investigating Clinton. You won't hear about it, but it's him and the NYPD that is hot on the Clintons' heels.
Good.
Yeah. You want to hear something? You want to hear something funny? You want to hear something real funny? This I read this the other day in V. I was going to send you it, but the Washington Free Beacon is reporting that Hillary Clinton is reportedly mulling a TV show to prep for a third run at the White House. Oh. She wants to be the white Oprah. So,
like she and Hillary Michelle should do a show together. That's what Lionel.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Lionel was reporting that Michelle Obama was seeking to get a TV show of her own to be the next Oprah. So maybe she and Hillary should get together. They can call it Black on White or something.
That'd be hilarious.
Black on White.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The funny thing is this: like, what are these two cackling hens going to run on?
Oh.
Michelle Obama's legacy is a failed school lunch program. And Donald Trump had more obese women moving in one day in that protesting march than Michelle Obama did in 8 years.
That was funny.
What? This is the lady. Michelle Obama is the lady who thought it was a good idea to give kids an ounce of yogurt, a stick of cheese, a cracker, and one chicken nugget, and call that school lunch. That's her legacy, and she's gonna run, and she's gonna get a TV show with the most corrupt politician since Adolf Hitler. You can't
She'll
make
be
this
interviewing
up.
them for the jail cell.
You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. It's hilarious. Oh my god! And people think, that like nobody. This is the woman. Okay, she's putting out the feelers out there to test for a television show. But this is the woman that right just now, just a few minutes ago, guys, we read out the news that there are 25 million voters who voted Democrat, who are dead. or they're incomplete, or they're fraudulent voters. 25 million.
Well, it'll probably come in handy for her Nielsen ratings too.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah, and then when you'll know something is weird when Hillary Clinton's television show has higher ratings than NFL football. You know something is seriously wrong when her television ratings has higher ratings. When her television show has higher ratings than The Walking Dead, you know the fix is in, guys. You know the fix is in. I mean, who advises this woman? Like, who literally sits there and says, I think it's a good idea you run for president for a third time. Third time's a charge. Why not? I mean, people love you. Women adore you. Everybody loves you. You're such a great person. Oh, how about a television show? You should really do a television show because, you could be the next Oprah. I mean, who's advising this crazy person? It's beyond me, guys.
Well, I'd like to know what the state of her health is now after all of this.
Dying.
Mm-hmm. Well, she must be.
She must have had a fresh infusion of children's blood.
That's what she She's had some fresh dinners.
Fresh pizza. She had some fresh pizza. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Greece is back in the news again.
Yes, right. What's their GDP? It's 160% or something. Their debt to GDP.
Oh my god! After the last debacle where these morons have actually voted to stay in the EU, this is how beaten Europeans are. Not only have the men voluntarily emasculated themselves with rusty pliers, okay, and left their cojones on top of the refrigerator in a jar that says "break in case of ever being in an emergency," and don't even look at it anymore. The fact that they've been so socially engineered that they think rape is a wonderful thing now. Having migrants come in and rape your women is a wonderful thing. The Greeks are now, after being screwed over by the EU with no lubrication, they are now walking in the streets saying "un-F Greece." They're holding up signs saying "un-F-U-C-K Greece."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys voted for this. You guys had an opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge. But you didn't. Now you're complaining because right now, they're projected to be their debt to GDP is projected to be 160%.
Wow.
Sooner rather than later. I mean, it's crazy, Deb.
Yeah, but now that, in fact, I saw a few updates about the Syria peace talks.
Yeah.
Which started this week. But now that we're seeing this alliance getting stronger between Russia and Turkey, you got to imagine that Greece is going to fall right in line now, I would think.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, you have this guy named Takis Samanis. He's out there. He's from Beta Securities. That doesn't even sound right to me. I guess Beta Securities where a bunch of beta males work. And so, they're out there saying that the outcome is it's much tougher than what the market had hoped for. We're in a whole heap of trouble. Yeah, I think so, Takis Zamanis. I think you're in a whole heap of trouble. If the Greeks had brains, and if the spirit of the Spartans were to somehow resurrect from the dead, and once again titillate the gonadal nether regions of the men that are in Greece, and the stimulation of actual logical feminine thinking amongst the women there, maybe they can come together and say, hey, you know what, this EU project, this whole experiment, this whole really bad lab experiment, it's not working. Why don't we integrate to the East? I mean, Deb, CJ, once you you guys agree wholeheartedly. The best thing that Greece could do is retain its or go back to its historical role as being a merchant hub in the Mediterranean, connecting the West and the East. I mean, that's the best route, right? I mean, you got Cyprus, you got Turkey. A lot of good things could happen here.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have anything else but that.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't know how much is left of it. I mean, how much have they had to sell off to foreign entities? Do they own anything? Do they even own their waterways and bridges? I mean, what do they have left? I mean, they have just had so much debt after debt, and that was the last thing that they could do. You know, nobody was buying their debt anymore, so they had to end up selling, you know, all their infrastructure things. So who knows? I mean, it's not going to be pretty for them at all, regardless. I mean, just very tough situation there.
Yep. Did you guys hear my favorite Mexican ex-politician? Fox. Did you hear what this dingbat? This guy who's like this guy reminds me of Georgian president. You guys remember? Was it George? Yeah, it was Georgian president Saakashvili, the Thai eater. You guys remember Saakashvili, the guy who Cheney and Bush told to go start a war in South Ossetia against Russia, and then the Russian special forces came alongside NATO's ass, and there were some U.S. Operators there who got their ass handed to them as well.
Vaguely.
So Vicente Fox reminds me of Saakashvili, the Thai eater. So I'm going to call this guy the taco eater. So the taco eater president, Vicente Fox, he's been the trolling idiot who's been trolling Trump over that, his own quote, you know, he called it the effing wall. Vicente Fox said, okay, this is his own exact words, U.S. automakers can't compete in the global economy by manufacturing cars in America. Vicente Fox, you moron. You produce cars in the United States at such high prices, mediocre quality, that you cannot compete. You cannot compete in manufacturing in the United States, Fox asserted in a contentious interview after the Twitter war erupted between Donald Trump and Mexican President Enrique Peña Narcotics Nieto. That's why Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors went broke. By joining up the production in Mexico, the United States, and Canada, they are back to business. For Chrysler and General Motors, Fox claimed in the Squawk Box appearance. So he was on CNBS, one of the most comedic shows that I watch and listen to just so I want to get some shits and giggles. Ken Shorgen does the same thing. He watches CNBS when he wants to laugh in the middle of knocking down ridiculous amounts of scores on his pool game. But here's the funny thing. What the hell is this guy talking about, CJ? Like, what is he referring to? Mediocre cars? Has he ever driven a new American car? What's mediocre about it?
This isn't the 80s anymore. You know, it's not the 80s where, you know, everything that we made was lemons. I mean, there's been a huge turnaround in the automobile industry for the U.S. made cars.
Vicente Fox, has he recently seen what the Ford GT looks like? Has he been in a Cadillac? A new Cadillac? Has he seen what Lincoln? Have you seen the freaking Chevy Malibu? Or the Cruze? Or a car, which I think, and I hate electric cars. You guys know this. You listen to me all the time. I hate electric cars. But look how great the Chevy Bolt is. What an awesome car. I mean, inside and out quality. Like, where is this guy? It is made in the USA. What the hell is he talking about? Look, GM, Chrysler, problems. Okay, Chrysler and General Motors had to go into bankruptcy and they were restructured. Why? Because you had unions that are running rampant. There was a lot of wasteful spending, this, that, and the other. So when Alan Mulally came into Ford, he slashed a lot of the fat and the waste and the wasteful spending, and he integrated the supply line. So the Fords that are sold in Europe are now sold in the U.S. Thank God, because now we finally have decent Ford Focuses and Ford Fusions and all that. Because that's, you know, in Europe they have the better quality Fusions, which were called the Mondeos, and the better quality Focuses. Now we get the same thing. So you streamline the supply line. Ford was fine. General Motors, on the other hand, was a cluster mess. Same thing with Chrysler. It was an absolute cluster mess. Bringing it back to the U.S., renegotiating these terms and whatnot, it's gonna be fine. We make great cars. So this idiot Vicente Fox is out there running his mouth, just trolling. What car does Mexico make? I think for the last 50 years, CJ, they were making the Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah, the Pinto, and they were making the Volkswagen Beetle under license for like the last 40 years, 50 years. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The Chevy Nova. The Chevy Nova.
Yeah, the Nova, which is the ideal name in Spanish, which means no go. Oh man. Anyway, CJ, what else is on the radar, bro?
Well, this whole thing, and again, I think we could talk about it for a long time, but I just have this funny feeling that with Obamacare and the turmoil that's creating, I have a feeling it could really bog down from getting a lot of things accomplished. And again, it's trying to find a win-win situation out of something that was put together so poorly. And I don't know what the exit is going to be to. I think it's almost needed that the GOP has a plan in place and it's an immediate, repeal, but then here's something new coming in. And I think it could really create a lot of havoc if they just strictly repeal the whole thing. And, imagine the challenges to the insurance industry, imagine the challenges to those with pre-existing conditions. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
No, I agree. Deb, what about you?
Yeah. I was. In fact, I was going to ask: has any of us kept count of the number of campaign promises Trump has already fulfilled in his first week?
Jeez. Why don't you break it down for us? I mean, God, this guy's done more in 3 days than Obama in 8 years.
Well, and some of it is just the beginning, like he's addressed certain things like with the Obamacare situation. But I mean, I think that's got the nation in shock. No one, for so long, nobody in this country has expected a politician to keep his promises. Yeah. So look at all the papers he's signed already. And if he has just set back anybody, they don't know what to do, where to turn, how to react at all to the fact that he is going forward with his plan. And I was going to share something from one of Jim Willey's recent report, because it echoes something that Bill Holter said about a month ago. And Bill came out and said, Trump knows that he is the president who is going to be presiding over the economic disaster that is coming.
Yep.
And there's a statement in the Money War report that Jim Willey put out where he had quite a few comments from The Voice in this one, which I always look for that first. This is how I scan Jim Willey's report. I do a find of the word voice first.
That's it.
Then put them out. And The Voice says that Trump is well aware that he is the captain of the USS Titanic that already hit the iceberg. He is a businessman who knows how to make deals. For him, there are no enemies, only competitors. Yep. And he went on to say, Trump knows when a downtown building in a prime location needs to meet the wrecking ball in order to make room for a new and better building, then Trump knows that it's time to let the wrecking ball fall.
Yeah.
And that's what and we haven't, certainly no one in the mainstream media is going to get this until the dust is beginning to settle over them. But that's still something we need to keep in mind about the events that are going to take place. And I don't know, what is your feeling on how soon we're going to see the more obvious cracks in what is coming, by this summer or maybe not by third quarter? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think right now it depends on what what I call the faction. These are the patriots, the good guys who have been fighting the cabal, the bandits, the globalists that they've been doing. It's all in their hands. If they decide to pull it earlier, then then they're going to pull it earlier. But I think the way that we're gearing up right now looks like they're trying to retool and get our economic engine running.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to retool our factories. They're trying to, get our physical economy up and running as fast as possible, and then try to pull the plug. And so when the transition does occur, it wouldn't be as catastrophic as it normally would be.
Right.
I think that's what they're going for.
Remember, that's what we've all been expecting. We knew that there could be a hard landing or a soft landing. Trump, we're still going to have a landing, but
Right.
he does seem to be the only person who could have laid a foundation for getting past this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And my whole thing is he's the only person that could pull a stunt like this off. And I think that he's not, he's going to preside over a huge economic problem. He's not going to sit there and let this, this problem take him down or take us down.
Right.
I think that's why this whole retooling is so important, and it has to be done. And the faster we rebuild a physical economy, the better the transition would be. So I don't know. I think they'll probably hold it out for another year. Maybe sometime in 2018 is a very big cause, because there's again the trade deals that need to go through, the integration into the the new Silk Road. There's so many ways. There's so many variables. Some guys like my buddy Bix. He's like, pull the damn thing already.
I know.
I get it. I totally get the frustration. I get it. I totally understand. But we pull this thing tomorrow. Let's just say tomorrow they let the market go pop. The guy is sitting in the basement of the Treasury Department was manipulating the markets. They let that thing go pop. Well, you're talking about catastrophe. You're talking about a massive loss of life.
Right.
Something that's just not good or feasible, and I don't think any president wants that.
And he's got to coordinate this, and we see it happening already with Theresa May and Marine Le Pen and whoever's going to win the German elections. I can see that everyone's got to do this all together, it seems like.
Yeah, exactly. And we all got to do it together. That's why Marine Le Pen is most likely going to win. Harley Schlanger, he likes Francois Fillon. He likes Le Pen. He likes both of them. He doesn't think Fillon's that bad of a guy. I don't like Fillon personally. I think he's globalism light.
Yeah.
He's Atlanticist light, and I'm not a big fan.
Has Francois had a meeting at Trump Tower like Marine Le Pen did?
No, I don't think so. No one's seen Fillon near Trump, which could be a telling sign that the Fillon's a fake.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're at the end of the broadcast. Anything else you guys want to say? Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, I'm scheduled to be on with Robin Falkov on her Event Horizons radio show next Thursday. So on World Freedom Network Radio Network. And I'll have another installment of my Antarctica series up this weekend too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Antarctica series, man. That's good stuff. And CJ, what about you, sir?
Yeah, no, to our listeners, we appreciate you. I know we threw some changes at you this week with the turn, Friday, and then the time and everything. So we really appreciate you. There's a reason for all of it, and we have big things planned for this year that I think everyone's going to be very excited about. As far as this is a great opportunity for Rogue Media in terms of you think of the amount of fake narratives that are out there that the MSM continues to push. So please do me a favor. If I could ask of anything from you, please share, roguemoney.net, our Facebook, our YouTube with family, friends. The road ahead is going to be challenging, but you'll be hearing it from us first as far as solutions and bringing you some truth as far as, what's happening. So that's all I have, V.
Thank you so much. And I can't be more prouder of this team as we all grow, and we're growing because of you guys. And again, subscribe to Deb's her YouTube channel, the Slay the Bankster.
Yeah, and just slaythebankster.com and you can go anywhere.
There you go. Go to slaythebankster.com. Check out Deb's work. She is the queen of the esoteric, so check it out. With that being said, I am the one and only, the illustrious Silverback, the ape. We'll be here next week, and check us out on the morning show.
Okay.
Enjoy your weekends, everybody.
Bye.
Take it away, CJ.